As the night was falling slowly down on city, town and bush, from a slum in Jones's Alley sloped the captain of the push, and he scowled towards the north, and he scowled towards the south, and he hooked his little fingers in the corners of his mouth. Then his whistle loud and shrill woke the echoes of the rocks, and a dozen ghouls came sloping round the corners of the blocks. There was naught to raise their anger, yet the oath that each one swore seemed less fit for publication than the one that went before, for they spoke the gutter language with the easy flow that comes only to the men whose childhood knew the brothels and the slums. Then they spat and turned and halted, and the one that came behind, spitting fiercely on the pavement, called on heaven to strike him blind. Let me first describe the captain, bottle-shouldered, pale and thin, for he was the beau ideal of a Sydney larrikin. In his hat was most suggestive of the city where we live, with a gallows tilt that no one save a larrikin can give, and a coat a little shorter than the writer would desire showed a more or less uncertain portion of his strange attire. That which tailors know as trousers, known by him as blooming bags, hanging loosely from his person, swept with tattered ends the flags, and he had a pointed stern post to the boots that peep below, which he laced up from the centre of the nail of his great toe, and he wore his shirt uncollared and the tie correctly wrong, but I think his vest was shorter than should be in one so long. And the captain crooked his finger at a stranger on the curb, whom he qualified politely with an adjective and verb, and he begged the gory bleeders that they wouldn't interrupt till he gave an introduction. It was painfully abrupt. Here's the bleeding push, me covey. Here's a something from the bush. Strike me dead, he wants to join us, said the captain of the push. Said the stranger, I am nothing but a bushy and a dunce, but I read about the bleeders in the weekly ghost bag once, sitting lonely in the humpy when the wind began to whoosh. How I long to share the dangers and the pleasures of the push. Gosh, I hate the swells and good 'uns, I could burn 'em in their beds. I am with you if you'll have me, and I'll break the blazing heads. Now look here, exclaimed the captain to the stranger from the bush. Now look here, suppose a fella was to spit upon the push. Would you lay for him and fetch him? Even if the traps were round, would you lay him out and kick him to a jelly on the ground? Would you jump upon the nameless, kill or cripple him or both? Speak, or else I'll speak. The stranger answered, my colonial oath, my colonial oath, my colonial oath. here," exclaimed the captain to the stranger from the bush. "Now look here, suppose the bleeders let you come and join the push. Would you smash a bleeding bobby if you got the blank alone? Would you break a swell or chinky, split his garret with a stone? Would you have a mole to keep you, like to swear off work for good?" "Yes, my oath," replied the stranger, "my colonial oath I would." "Now look here," exclaimed the captain to the stranger from the bush. "Now look here before the bleeders let you come and join the push. You must prove that you're a blazer. You must prove that you have grit, worthy of a gory bleeder. You must show your form a bit. Take a rock and smash that window." And the stranger, nothing loath, took a rock and smash. They only muttered, "My colonial oath, my colonial oath, my colonial oath." So they swore him in and found him sure of aim and light of heel, and his only fault, if any, lay in his excessive zeal. He was good at throwing metal, but we chronicle with pain that he jumped upon the victim, damaging the watch and chain ere the bleeders had secured them. Yet the captain of the push swore a dozen oaths in favour of the stranger from the bush. Late next morn, the captain rising, hoarse and thirsty from his lair, called the newly feathered bleeder, but the stranger wasn't there. Quickly going through the pockets of his blooming bags, he learned that the stranger had been through them for the stuff his mole had earned, and the language that he muttered I would scarcely like to tell. Stars and notes of exclamation, blank and dash will do as well. In the night, the captain's signal woke the echoes of the rocks, brought the gory bleeders sloping through the shadows of the blocks, and they swore the stranger's action was a blood-escaping shame, while they waited for the nameless. But the nameless never came, and the bleeders soon forgot him, but the captain of the push still is laying around in ballast for the nameless from the bush. The captain of the push, the stranger from the bush.